This is the Original Sin, the Collective Intelligence Network. Hello sinners, my Collective Intelligence Network agents. My name is Stephen Coupland and welcome to another episode of the Collective Intelligence Network. Now, I've titled this video after something that I only recently heard and which I absolutely love very much. And it's along the lines of the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's what I'd like to talk today about, is where we're heading with AI. And we were having a bit of a discussion earlier today with a couple of the people who are in my Masters of Creative Intelligence and Strategic Innovation course. One of them is a PhD student, and the other one's is also involved in what I'm involved with. And we were talking about artificial intelligence. And once we'd sort of finished our discussion and I was ruminating upon this subject, I started to think along the lines of what it's going to mean for us as a society in the future. And I know there's a lot of hype and paranoia in some instances around what's happening. All our jobs are being taken and where we're all going to go with this whole future development, of which AI is but one. There are actually 5 general purpose technologies all happening at the moment. In a book by Mustafa Suleyman called The Coming Wave, he iterizes there's actually 5 things that are happening right now. In human history, we've had about 22 general purpose technologies. The first early ones being fire and the wheel, that radically changed the way we lived. And the most recent probably were around the turn of last century, the 1900s, wherein we had electricity, the telephone and the automobile, which obviously radically changed the way we lived our lives in the 20th century, for those of you out there that can remember. However, what we have happening now is we have 5 general purpose technologies all in some labs, somewhere in the world, and even in our reality at the moment. So one of those obviously is artificial intelligence. Then we have quantum computing, there's synthetic biology, there is automation and robotics. So all these things are all in play right now and are coming our way like a freight train. We can't stop it, and it will be in our lived reality, and that's how our future will be, involved and incorporated with all those aspects in ways that we can't even contemplate. However, I'm going to be doing some contemplation around some of those aspects today. So with respect to AI, and there was talk about AI, and I know in Japan they're developing robots with communication abilities so that for their aging population, and older people and loneliness is a serious situation, serious condition, and depression and a whole raft of other things that come about as a result of being lonely. And so they're developing technologies wherein they will have like an AI assistant who would be able to interact and relate with them. And thinking along those lines, I thought that as this technology evolves and as people become more connected to AI in terms of relatability, and also because it will understand, when I say it, I mean the algorithm will be able to understand what it is that you individually like really, really well, and be able to feed you this sort of information. And I can see a natural progression to it being a way that you'd actually easily be able to communicate with something if it's voice enabled, for example, and connected to the internet. And maybe it doesn't even need to be connected to the internet, could just have a big enough hardware in its system so it can actually download as much information as it actually needs. And then this could potentially even be in a synthesized automation, robotics, robot that could have this implanted in them. And so you would have a personal assistant who'd be like your best friend, and they would probably be able to, you have in-depth conversations with them, you'll become highly involved with them. And I thought, okay, well that's one pathway forward for all this. And obviously though, that wouldn't be human. And as human beings, we do crave human contact and interaction. And also, I think that potentially what could happen is, because these assistants, personal assistants, will know us so well, and they can also be connected to the internet. And at the end of the day, it's all data. And I can see a situation wherein each of these technologies would be able to interact with other technologies and be able to go through and cross-reference and cross-pollinate and come up with your best match. Not only your best match in every aspect. So your best match in terms of personality, likes and dislikes, also that right balance between being similar but not too similar, so you can have a little bit of to and fro, a little bit of friction. I think every relationship needs that, otherwise it gets a little bit boring. And also, I think given by tying in a few different current things that are happening at the moment, you can see how I have come up with the idea that I'm projecting right now. So back in my day, we didn't have dating apps. You'd actually meet people in real life. And obviously people still now contemporarily do meet people in real life, though they're using apps where they can actually just swipe left or swipe right, whatever it is. I'm not too sure. I don't use them. However, that would be a way where people are able to go through and just visually see who they think they like and read up on their bio and background. And there's pros and cons for all this. Some people get married as a result of the people they meet. Others have not so pleasant an experience on it. However, I'm thinking using that sort of base, that you could potentially have the AI technology, the personal assistant, whatever name they're going to come up with, who would be able to match you with people around the world who would really be your best match. And they could also do it in such a way, because I think they'll also be able to understand your epigenetic code. They'll actually know your health, because synthetic biology is one of those platforms that I said is a general purpose technology that's coming along like a freight train at us all. And so I don't see why this personal assistant wouldn't have full access to your whole biometrics, your whole biology. And so it would be able to match you with other people. And again, this is privacy and data and all those sorts of things, which are ethical considerations, which this, for the sake of the exercise, I'm talking around as if there was no barriers to that. I guess all you'd need is people to sign off and say, look, I agree to this, and the other party has done the same thing. So then you can make matches in that way, which would be another level above where we are in today's sort of situation and scenario, because we would be able to get matches made unlike ever before in history. And so, to my way of thinking, that's potentially where we can head with this development as it's playing out now in real time. However, in a few years down the track, people will watch this video and go, wow, that guy was spot on with what he said. Or they might go, wow, he was way off. Though I've got an inkling, I've been pretty prescient with a lot of my predictions. And I think, especially if you think along the lines of the best way to predict the future is to create it, then I think along these lines, I put it out to my sinners, my church members, cyborg humans, using reasoning collectively harnessed, to potentially maybe help finesse and develop this idea by putting your spits, solve the problem with individual thought, into the spittoon. So then that way, all of us together can solve problems all together, see what's spat back, and so that we can actually work out the ethics of this, the moral considerations, our thoughts around all these things that I've projected, and see then if we can get our saints to come up with their interpretation, which is our suggested artificial intelligence network thoughts. And once they've come back with their own interpretation on all the comments that we've got back from the spittoon, then those will be put back into the community, into the network. So then that way, all of us together can put human eyes on it, can read through what's been suggested, and see if there's any things that don't ring true, that are obviously clearly wrong, or those things that might be quite insightful, or things that we overlooked or missed or didn't actually consider. And then once we have all this information, we can then collectively come back with a further development along those lines. And potentially maybe this platform could even be the space and the place that helps develop these prototypes that I'm talking about here, which may well already be in production somewhere coming your way real soon. And anyway, please like and subscribe. We need more sinners in this church. I'm looking for sinners, Collective Intelligence Network, network agents. I need you to get involved. Don't be shy. Put forward your comments. There's no such thing as a bad idea. Just get involved. I'd really like to see this platform become a much bigger version of what it is presently, and I believe it will be. And the future is coming our way. That's my little spaceman in the background. So on that note, I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye for now.